Hello there, and welcome back for episode 7 of our Let's Play. So I think I have a plan for this episode. As you can see, we have 1.2 million simoleons and 301 science, and we're not going to use any of it. Because what I was doing is I was actually looking at the missions here, and we still have this Explore Mun that we still haven't done, and all we have to do is do a flyby and gather science, which really isn't overly difficult. And as far as other missions go, we got a lot of crap right now. Like this guy is ridiculous, this guy's ridiculous. If we had probes, these wouldn't be nearly as bad, but this would actually be really easy to do, but I don't really feel like doing it right now. And we got a bunch of atmospheric surveys, we got another crappy launch site, which is worth like nothing at this point. 6,000 compared to 1.2 mil is kind of pointless. And the other one that we looks like we're actually starting to spawn satellite quests. But you can see this one here is actually 12 mil by 10 mil, which is fairly ridiculously high. In fact, I'm pretty sure Mun is around 10 mil. So that's basically putting a satellite in the exact same orbit as Mun. Which would be kind of fun, but I don't actually have comm networks up yet at this point, so we can't really do probes or satellites until we actually get that comm network up. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a geosync when I do actually go to I'm going to put 3 satellites up in geosync to get comm network kind of around Kerbin. So we do need to get on that pretty soon here, and in order to do geosync, I think I need to something like 2.6 mil altitude, I think, or something like that you need to get to. So it's a lot further out than we've actually gone up to this point. So before I actually want to do the geosync episode, I thought it would be smart to go ahead and go to Mun, because that'll show how to get up. Well, I think if it's at 10 mil, it'll show how to get out till 10 mil, which doing 2 mil then should be easy. So, I think that's going to be our plan for the episode, so we don't really have any missions that will help us with that other than this guy here, which will actually give us, we already have that money. But that's like 120, so it's like 200,000, bunch of science, bunch of rep. And this should also unlock, basically this game behind the scenes, like, as you get milestones and do more and more stuff, you start getting more difficult missions, and I would really like to kind of start getting away from these crap ones. So I'm hoping this will actually spur some better missions. So our plan going into this, because we're just doing a flyby, I'm gonna basically do a free return trajectory, but it's not gonna be 100% free return. It's gonna be really close, not quite, because to do a true free return, we'll pass Mun at a fairly high altitude, and I want to get the low science from Mun. In fact, I'm probably going to go for a 10k pass just for shits and giggles. So to do that, I'm not going to have a very good. It'll be almost a free return, but not quite. We'll have to do a slight tweak burn as we go. But if we can pull this off, essentially it will get us. We're going to pass through 3 biomes, so we'll get high Kerbin space. We'll also get high Mun space and low Mun space. And I think what I'm going to do to save on the part count, I'm going to actually take 2 people. We're going to take a pilot because we don't have comm networks yet, but then I'm also going to take a scientist with us. And that way, because we have to go through 3 biomes, I only have to take 1 of each experiment, and the scientist can just pick up and reset the experiments as we need. And we can collect all 3 biomes. And just for the extra challenge, I'm going to, again, do it staying underneath the 30 part count as another option that can be done before you actually get this guy upgraded. So yeah, I think that's the plan for the episode. We're going to do a Mun Flyby. We're going to do it in under 30 parts. We're going to take 2 people. We're going to take all our science. And we're going to do a free return 10k swipe. So let's go build a rocket. So initially I babbled through the actual building of this, but the video is running long, so I'm gonna have to do it on at hyperspeed and just do a post commentary. So basically we started with a command pod, and you can see I was trying to decide what I should take for a crew cabin for our scientist, and you can see there's two different options, the one I was looking at and then also the crew cabin here. They both weigh 1 ton, so mass-wise it doesn't really matter. However, this guy that I'm showing right now won out because, as you can see, it actually has 10 reaction force, where the command pod's only 5. So that takes our reaction force from 5 to 15. As well as it also has a door. If I was to use the other crew cabin and I wanted to EVA my scientist, I would actually have to EVA Jeb out of the command pod, move the scientist to the command pod, then EVA him, take all my stuff, put him back in the command pod, move him back down, and it, as just even talking about it, it sounds annoying as hell. So we definitely decided to go with this guy instead, and it makes it look a little cooler because we got a big giant window now. So beyond that, we just basically took one of every science because we're going to have a scientist, so we're just going to be collecting the data and resetting everything as we go. Your typical 3 parachutes, because we are trying to bring down 2.2 tons, I think is what the payload ended up weighing. Oh no, I didn't account for the heat shield. It'd be about 2.5 tons. So you can see there I was debating on whether to take power or not, but I decided that we probably won't need it. As long as we don't do a lot of maneuvering in space, we won't use that much power, so we should be fine. And we're basically doing a free return anyway, so we won't have to be rotating around at all. So we went with the pretty typical rocket, 2-stage, space engine in the middle. I'm using the Reliant as the main engine because we have so much reaction force and fins. I figure we don't really need the gimbal, and Reliant has better ISP as well as thrust. So we're going to use that, and I briefly went over the part count here, so I ended up ditching the second set of hammers and just going with the thumpers instead. But otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty typical 2-stage setup for the most part. And I'm a little concerned about the re-entry, just because our payload is fairly long, but I'm hoping that the 15 reaction force we have will be enough to keep the heat shield in the fire. That puts us at 4,800. It's gonna be tight because I need at least 800 to get to the Mun. 900 probably to do my full-on free trajectory, which means we need to do a launch that's less than 3,950, which I could do. The sucker's really tall. We have one extra part. I have no idea what I could do with that. You know what? We're just gonna try it. Alrighty, so we want to on SAS on full throttle. So here's our staging's off. Yeah, as long as this thing actually launches off the launch pad here, I'll probably just carry on with the mission because we should have lots of fuel. It should be good. Unless there's some unforeseeable problems. So she's kind of tipping a little bit on us. Let's maybe just let this thing kick. Ooh, it does. Oh wow, this thing's so much more stable than the last thing I flew. Oh shit. Oh man, I just realized that we forgot Bob. Bob's down at KSP, or KSC, with his snacks. What the fuck? You guys left without me? You told me it was 9. Yeah. Whoops. So we should probably go get Bob. I'm sorry, man. It's not my fault. Jeb told me you were already on. Oh, I should have fixed my staging. Oh well. Alright. Um, round 2. Flight. hopefully, as I was saying, as long as this launch goes swimmingly, we're just gonna probably carry on with the mission and just go ahead and head to the moon. Okay, we're back in like really fast. I probably kind of overdid it there. So we're just gonna ride these boosters out and then ditch them. Oof. Thing wiggled pretty good. We're not even at 10,000 yet. We're falling pretty fast. So I'm probably going to start cutting some of these launches out eventually. But I just thought I'd leave at least the first few in so you can kind of see how I go about doing it. I mean, it's basically just watching that thrust away ratio and watching that time to apple. And you're basically, you can either throttle up and down to control this time to apple, or you can pitch. Like the harder you pitch, the less it'll go up. We're looking pretty good. We're at 24K and we're at 45. We're still going pretty slow and we're out of the soupy stuff, so we can actually start gaining our speed now safely without. Last thing we want is air drag, because air drag burns up extra fuel. So I just find it works really good to keep this thrust weight ratio down until you got some good altitude, and that's when you really start punching your speed up. This thing is really wiggly. It's kind of like trying to fly a wet noodle. So we're finally at the point. This is starting to go down, but our Apo's still climbing, so I'm not too concerned about that. And we're at 1100. This should work out almost perfect. That we'll ditch this stage just before we get to orbit, and that way it'll fall down and burn up, and then we'll use our second stage to actually get our orbit. I'm gonna give it some gas here because this is dropping quite fast. We're at 50,000, so we're out of most of the air. There we go, now it's starting to go up. So this is pretty much the runaway point where the timed apple is going to start running away on us. This is going to start shooting up. But she's looking good. Ditch that, full throttle. Sweet, we got 1.3. Perfect! Now we're going to get really close here to a hole-in-one. It's not going to be quite though. I'm going to have to kill the engines right away. 7620? It's not bad. Can I force that up? It's going to be kind of a waste of fuel. Let's not do that. Whatever. We're just going to wait for the abo-apps and then fire off this fuel. And get our orbit. And then we can start explaining stuff. Man, that's pretty sweet. It kind of looks like a plane. Just without wings. It's my rocket plane. Going to the moon. Oh shit. We went flying way past our burn. Whoops. It'll be okay though, it's... Woo! Oh, that was a bit excessive. Ah, whatever. I wasn't too far past it. So we're at a bit of a wonky orbit now, but that's not a big we still have 1200 delta V, which is more than enough. So whenever you're trying to get to another celestial body, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your target, or open up the map here and set as target. And then the other thing you're going to want to do is you want to make sure you're on the same plane as your target. So the Mun's on an equilateral, but we obviously missed by 1.3 degrees. So what we're going to do, these ascending node and descending node, these are basically the points where our two planes intersect. So what we're going to want to do is actually add a maneuver node. And we're going to want to just basically plot a maneuver that will take this down to 0. Oh, too far. Oh my god. Okay, good enough. So it's 54 meters a second. It's actually a pretty decent burn, but so what that's going to do is it's just going to make sure, by being on the same plane, it makes plotting your transfer trajectory a lot easier. If you were just going into orbit around Mun, or even doing a landing on Mun, it really wouldn't matter that you're off by... is not really a big deal. But because I'm trying to kind of plot a very specific trajectory and do the return and everything else, I want to be as flat as possible here. So we just basically have to wait for our maneuver node. The other thing also, we want to be careful we don't run out of electric charge. And the best way we can do that, you can leave SAS on, but actually, yeah, using these can chew up a lot of electricity because it's basically the autopilot's controlling it when it doesn't necessarily have to be. So try and keep these off. You can leave SAS on because as long as you're not rotating the craft, it doesn't use any power. And then we're basically just want to keep our movements to a minimum. We don't want to be just spinning the craft just for the heck of it, because we do want to be very careful we don't run out of electricity. Because that is really bad thing to happen. Although you do get electricity from firing your engines, so if push came to shove and you were in a real tight bind, you could burn your engines a little bit to try and get some power. Burn. Hopefully that's close enough. That was already on the map screen. Okay, so there we go. We got 0.0 degrees. So we're now basically on the same plane as our target. And speaking of planes, why are we a plane? That seems rather odd. Although I think I can... Pretty sure I can change that. This thing... Aha! Ship. There we go. Much better. I wonder why I did that. Oh, I'm guessing maybe because of the command pod. Or that crew cabin that I have. Anyway, so now that we have the plane, we need to actually plot our trajectory to the moon. So basically you kind of want to put this at like 2 o'clock. This is 12. And then what you want to do is you want to click on the back side of the planet here and add a maneuver node. Now, if we were actually going to drop into orbit around Mun, you'd want to do a trajectory like this, that's kind of ballistic. You'd obviously want to get this PE way lower, but you basically want to come in the backside, and then you would do your brake to get around the Mun. However, we are doing a flyby, so we are not going to do that. What we're going to do... I'm pretty sure I'm going to need some more TV for this. So basically, instead of that would be a good example, actually. So that'd be a pretty good example of how you could drop into orbit around Mun, is you'd want to plot something like this, and then do your retrograde burn at the PE to get orbit capture. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to pass in front of Mun, and the reason we want to do that is because the gravity is going to basically slingshot us around, so we're going to come out like this, and we're actually going to essentially go around this way, and then come back along here. And this actually is not a half bad, if you were to do an actual true free return trajectory, this is pretty close to what it would actually look like. So you'll pass Mun at 160k, and you would want to lower this down to probably like 30. But that's the general idea. This would be a true free return. However, we don't want that. Mainly because, wow, this thing's being really... I want to get to there. That's 66. Does that lower it? That lowers it. 1. 1 is bad. We don't want 1. 29. Okay, 18. Close enough to 10. I can tweak that when we get closer, but... So we're going to do this trajectory. So it's, you can see it's basically almost identical, except we're going to go down into the lower space of Mun, and we'll be able to get the signs in lower space. Now you can see our PE is at 850, so that's now no longer enough to do an aero brake return. However, we are going to do a second burn once we get to Mun that will bring this down. And basically the reason you want to do, I'm definitely I'll do a burn at PE that will bring, the Mun PE that will bring the Kerbin PE down into the atmosphere. And the reason I want to do it at the Mun PE is we want to take advantage of the Oberth effect, which is basically saying that the closer you are to a celestial body, the more fuel efficient your burn is going to be. So anytime you want to do burns, if you can do them really close to a planet, you'll get a lot better efficiency out of them. So because we need to do a correction burn, and it doesn't really matter where we do it, we'll wait until we're right at the Mun PE, and then we'll bring this guy down. Otherwise, we have our trajectory plotted. Our burn is 19 minutes away, and I don't think there's much else to cover with trying to get to Mun. That's basically a quick how-to of it. So as long as this all goes well, yeah, we'll just screw it, whatever. Okay, so we're 20 seconds out on our burn here. Everything should be good. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire! And so what I'm going to do here with this burn is, once we start getting close to our trajectory, I'm actually going to throttle the engine back, which I'll show you when we actually get to that point. Okay, so we're getting really close here, so we're probably going to cut our engines. Now we're just going to point at prograde here. Let's get rid of that. So right now we're actually on a collision course. That's bad. But if we give it a little more gas, boom. So I don't even need to make an adjustment on that. That's sweet. So we got our trajectory. We're going to make a 10k pass and shave the Mun, and then we'll be at 1 million when we come back. So we'll have to fix that, but we still got 300 delta V, and I guarantee that tweak is not going to be that much. So everything is looking pretty good. Now, I don't actually want to plot that burn until later. Generally speaking, if you have a burn that you need to do in a separate sphere of influence, or SOI, you should wait till you're actually in that SOI before you make the plot, just because it can, when you're talking going to other planets and stuff, especially, it can really throw off the math if you plot a maneuver before you actually get there, because sometimes it'll slightly drift. So basically we're going to wait until we actually are within the Mun's SOI, and then we'll actually plot our correction burn out there. But other than that, not going to be a whole lot happening. So it doesn't, because we don't have solar panels, it really doesn't matter which way this vessel faces. So to save power, we're not gonna lock it to any vectors or anything. We're just gonna let it just float. But beyond that, right now we're still in space low. We're gonna get to in space high eventually here, and once I do, I'll take our 6 experiments where I'll do all the readings, pop Bob out, and do an EVA, grab the experiments, and then we'll just carry on the rest of the way to Mun. Once we get into the SOI of Mun, I will again take all the experiments, and we will also probably plot that correction burn at our periaps while we're there. And then we'll probably pick up when we're starting to come in for the low pass, because up to that point is pretty much just me drifting through space and popping out to take experiments twice. And I don't think I can fill that much airspace with talking, so we'll just do it on fast forward. I guess one thing I should maybe cover, I haven't actually really done a true EVA yet. So when you EVA in the dark, which is kind of stupid, you're going to get out and you're going to be holding on. Just hit space to let go, and once you let go, if you hit R, it'll turn on your jetpacks. Your jetpack, I should say. And the other thing that's helpful is if you hit L, it'll turn on his helmet lights, so you can actually see things. But yeah, to control the jetpack, it's just like your WASD is your left, right, forward, back. And then shift and control does your up and down. And other than that, it's the rules of space, so if I give it a push in this direction, he's just going to keep floating that direction forever. So anytime you do a push in any direction, you're going to have to cancel it out, obviously, in the opposite direction eventually. So that's how we're going to basically EVA around and collect all these science experiments in between. And yeah, until we get to space high, he does not need to be out here. What? Oh, a EVA Jeb. That's hilarious. He's like banging on the door. Bob's like, press off, I'm in here. Yeah, so we're going to turn SAS back on. Anytime you EVA your pilot, you have to turn SAS back on when you get out. So yeah, we're just probably going to fast forward now. Quick post-commentary note here. High space starts at 250 kilometers, so I was actually already in high space when I went to fast forward the video. So I just jumped right back out and took all the science experiments. But if you were going to try and get it, just do an orbit around Kerbin, you just have to get up to that 250 kilometers, and then you'll be able to take the upper science or upper space readings. You can see here we finally reached the Mun high space. What I was watching actually was my altitude, because my altitude suddenly switched from 9 million to 2 million, which basically told me that I was no longer over Kerbin, I was now over the Mun. And then no mission's complete without a little bit of a photo op, so Bob went for a little stretch of the legs to get some pictures. And we also plotted our correction burn, which worked out to about 50 delta V, so we still have plenty left. Okay, so we're getting down around 120,000 now, which means we are going to be coming in for a low pass soon. And one thing I should also mention, once you're in lower space, around Mun, you can do the same EVA trick that we did back on Kerbin, where when you do EVAs in low space, it counts as biomes. So the general idea here we're going to go for is once we hit, sorry, not 60. Once we hit 60k, we'll be in space low around Mun. So we're going to want to run all these experiments really quick. And then once we do that, we're going to want to be jumping in and out doing EVAs as we travel through the different biomes. And we should be able to hoard a whole bunch of extra science that we otherwise would probably not have got. Why did that just flip? Are we going to hit the Mun? It says we're at 9,000. Oh, whatever. I hope that just means because we're really close to it. Because that's a bit sketchy. Crap, okay, so barometer, thermometer. Must need this. So yeah, EVA trick, do that. What's the general point of that story? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got our EVA report for 6. So yeah, once we hit 60k here, and we also want to pay attention to our node burn. It's 4 minutes out at this point, so we got some time, but ideally I'd prefer not to go past it. We've already done that once this mission. So we're about to hit here. Ready for some science in? Let's science the shit out of this. Log, 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 log. EVA. EVA report. What do we got? Midlands? Now I do want to go collect all those science experiments, but we're going to do it after. Because I just want to focus on trying to get EVAs right now. Oh, there's Lowlands. EVA. Headlands. You. Oh, I think we missed it. Oh crap, now we're in craters. Get back out there. Oh, it's Midland craters. Interesting. Already stored. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, there's the Lowlands. Man, I should just leave him out there and just spam it. Store. Midlands? Do we have Midlands? We have Midlands. So we have Midlands, we have Lowlands, and we have whatever that crater was. Midland crater. And we're still going down. We're still 2 minutes out on our burn. Which I would really like to not miss. Wow, Midlands is like a good chunk of this place. If we hit a bad side. Oh, there's some highlands. get that? UVA. Yeah, sweet. Star. Get him back on board. Okay, we're a minute out on our burn now. Probably rotate. Ooh, canyons. Sweet. Star. Okay, we got 44 seconds. This is quite the endeavor here. Oh, East Farsight Crater. That sounds new. Star. Oh yeah. Man, we're getting lots of signs. But we got 22 seconds left until our burn. It's too bad we can't actually see the Mun right now, because we are really close to it. 6, 5, 4, 3. Man, that's a really big crater that we're in. It's still going. Wow, that went really fast. I should have been on this screen. Shit. Oh, he went too far. Crap. Crap, 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 crap. We're still in the crater. Okay, we need to turn this way down. We need to spin retro. We need to fix this. Why are you not throwing? So we want to get this back to 30. Close enough. We're still in the crater. Cool. Well, that was... Don't do that. Don't overshoot your burn. We can turn our thrusts back up on that. Midlands? We have Midlands. We have Highlands? Pretty sure we have Highlands. We're also starting to go up, so once we go past 60k, we won't be able to get the biomes anymore. And I don't think there's much else. Might hit another crater or something, but that's about it. So yeah, at this point we are set for return, and we still have an extra 260 delta V. So if I just didn't touch anything and just kicked my engine, we should be fine as long as we go retrograde through the fire. Otherwise, but I think what I'll do is when we actually get to Kerbin, I'll show you a trick that you can actually burn off that extra fuel without affecting your peri-apps at all. So yeah, we're looking good. We got lots of power. We got a whole boatload of science. Which, speaking of, we have a crew report, right? Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get more biomes here, so I need to go and actually collect all this stuff. Last EVA just in case. And we're gonna spam the crap out of this thing. Even though I don't think we actually need the crew report again. So yeah, there shouldn't be any other signs we need. So for the most part, we just need to drift and wait until we get there. Okay, so we're starting to get, we're at 300, so we're gonna go a little bit further, but I want to start getting ready for this. We're gonna get as close to the planet as we can when we do this. So the trick to this is basically we want to burn off our fuel retrograde, but if we were just burn straight retrograde, we would completely throw off this our peri hit height. So there's a sweet spot somewhere in here where the this periapse will go up and down depending on if you pitch up and down kind of in the sweet spot area. We'll have to figure it out as we fire up the engines, but essentially what we want to do is we want to burn off all our fuel and find that sweet spot so that we don't actually affect our periapse height at all. So I'm just going to fast forward till we're probably 100, and then we'll do it. 120, it's good enough. Okay. So we're gonna light up the engines. It's hard to see that right now, but so you can see it's going down. If I pitch up this way, now it starts going up. And so essentially what I want to do is burn off all this fuel while juggling this and just keeping it between 30 and 31k by essentially just pitching up and down. We're not burning off fuel fast enough. Let's throttle up. And this is how you can essentially just, like, if you have extra fuel, you can burn it off. It'll help save you a bit on the re-entry, because you can see it's slowing us down, obviously. Cool! So now that that's done, we can make sure all that's good. We can ditch our engine. And we should be ready for re-entry. We're going to be going, well, we're gaining speed. We're going to be going about 3,000. So it's going to take us a little while to burn off our speed, but hopefully everything goes swimmingly. And we're up at 50, so we're going to start seeing fire pretty soon here. There she is. And touchdown! Yay! I can't believe we actually did it. I'm actually really impressed. I thought that was going to actually take me a few tries, but everything just kind of worked out. Although, I mean, the first time I tried to do that, I definitely had a lot of failures. But it's been a few, well, it's been over a year since then, probably. Yeah, so we landed. Now, what I want to do, I'm actually going to tip this guy over and hope nothing explodes. Okay, sweet. What we're going to do is we're going to EVA Bob. And he's going to kick the craft. And I think we have not, up to this point, planted a flag, and this is a perfect opportunity, I think. Because we went all the way to the Mun and back. Alright. Mun Flyby. Alright. Cool. So we have successfully landed on the Mun. Well, sorry. Not landed on the Mun, we've done a flyby of the Mun, and we should, in theory, hoard a whole bunch of science from our little endeavor here. So we're gonna go get Bob back on board, and let's go see what kind of stash we brought back. Holy Hannah. So we got, wow, we got 574 science. That is awesome. And we did it in under 30 parts with only the first 3 tiers of parts. That's pretty sweet. We only got 14% back, so we landed on the opposite side of the planet. That's kind of crappy. But Hey, Bob leveled up! Yay! And Jeb got XP too. Right on, right on. Wow, so we have 900 science now and 150 or 1.5 million in the bank just for going to the mun. So yeah, that I had to explain quite a bit in that episode, so it's probably running pretty long by this point. So we will call it wraps. I'm not too sure. I kind of want to start using probes, so there's a high chance the next episode could be actually doing our geosync satellites and finally getting a communication network up. But until then, ta-ta!